Hi there, I'm Rex King. Welcome back to Monday Night Horror Show. Today we are talking about Cat People. Cat People was released in 1982 and was directed by Paul Schrader. It stars Nikitsky, I apologize if I mispronounced that name, Kinski, as Irina, a girl who comes to New Orleans to reunite with her long-lost brother. Upon doing so, she starts to notice something weird about her brother and herself. It turns out that they are both descendants of a race of people who turn into Black Panthers when they feel sexual desire. The film did alright at the box office, making about $20 million worldwide, but the studio still considered it a massive failure. It did, however, find its audience when it was released on DVD and video, earning cult classic status. Is this film worthy of that title? Yes and no. On one hand, the story is quite interesting, with it focusing on sexual desire and its relations to the beast in all of us, and using a lot of imagery to tell its story. And it is really interesting how that comes about, but at the core of this film, it is still a horror movie, and it fails to meet a lot of the elements necessary for a decent horror story. It's more of a dark fantasy than a horror movie at times, and I feel like that's a missed opportunity. However, I do enjoy a lot of the artistic license it takes and a lot of the visual style it uses throughout the story. I also really enjoyed a lot of the acting in the film. All the actors do a fantastic job. We got Malcolm McDowell as Paul, the brother, who's the right amount of creepy and the right amount of tragic that you really feel for the character, but you do feel like he's horrific in what he has tried to accomplish and the amount of bodies left in the wake of his sexual desire. Nikitsky Kinski as Irina is brilliant in the film. She gives the character a lot of emotional depth, and her facial expressions are just perfect. John Hurd as Oliver, the generic hero of the film, is portrayed really well, not giving fully into the obsession of the character, so he doesn't come across as creepy as Paul. The big issue I have with the story, though, is halfway through the film they try to establish rules for this world and the transformations. They basically state that if these characters have sex with people who are not their own relatives, they will turn into these beasts and not be able to revert back until they kill somebody. However, the first half of the film makes these rules irrelevant because they do not follow them. They follow a different set of rules that aren't established, because technically Paul, the first time he transforms, hasn't had sex with somebody at that point. He just is already transformed before he has sex. It's basically whenever he feels sexual desire. This could have been avoided if they had just not tried to explain the rules of the story. Plenty of other movies have done that in the past, and it would have worked much better for this film. But because they tried to establish rules halfway through the movie that don't fit with the first half of the film, it just goes really badly. And it just feels very contradictory and unnecessary. Now, the score is also one of the best parts of this film. I really enjoyed the score by Grigory Monaco, if I'm pronouncing that name right. Mordor, sorry. I'm not very good with the names at times. But his score is quite good. I'm not a big fan of synthesizer work, as some other people are. I prefer more of an orchestral score, but this does work for this style of movie, especially when you consider the main song done by David Bowie, Putting Out Fire with Gasoline, and that's also considered one of the best parts of this film. Again, I'm not into synthesized music, and I'm not into David Bowie's musical work, so I have some problems with the score, but I can see a lot of people enjoying this one. The production design is also quite brilliant. I really like how they captured New Orleans, and I really liked a lot of the sets they have on in the film, especially the desert scenes, which are quite brilliantly well done. I really did find a lot of this film enjoyable. It's just a shame that it doesn't follow its own rules that it tries to set up. I really was looking forward to this one, and I did like the more artistic license it takes with the story, and it's definitely better than its 1940s counterpart, which is just a straight monster movie. I also preferred the ending in this film to the ending of the original script, which ends in your typical burning down house fire, where this one ends more of Oliver enshrining his obsession in being able to basically keep the woman he loved in panther form locked in the zoo. It's much better of an ending, in my opinion. At the end of the day, Cat People is a decent film. If it just stuck to the rules that it was trying to set up, I probably wouldn't have that many complaints. But because of that, the story does feel a little off, and the art doesn't always help out the horror movie. At the end of the day, I give this film a 6 out of 10. Now, that's what I thought about Cat People. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Next week, I take a look at Anaconda. I'll see you then.